but I tell them, Canada, we're all immigrants. If you are not First Nations, we all came at one point. Some people just came earlier than the others. Do we agree? So I don't let anybody razzle me and say, where are you from? I say, I'm from Nigeria. You two, where are you from? Then you mentioned 14 years. 13, 14, and Ibrahim, 14 years. So you all long been here. What have you seen as, and we're talking about soft skills, your professional skills, what was the biggest obstacle you had to overcome and change in terms of your professional skills? So 19 years and what you do now. I would like to just hear everyone's views before we start taking questions.
Is communication, is how to talk to people, how to address people, how to talk in a meeting. Growing up in Nigeria, we were never, let me speak for myself, I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I wasn't exposed to presenting, like to standing up in front of people and talk and present an idea and argue out my idea. So I'm in a meeting and somebody says, well, why do we have to choose that project? What do I say? Because government said. Okay, so why did government say that? I have to be able to argue my case. When I started my profession, it was a big shock coming for me. When they tell me something, I rattle, I can't give a very robust answer that will compel somebody to believe me. Trust me, I bought books, I went into podcasts, I talked to people on how to improve my communication skills. And that, I can tell you, has put me on another trajectory in my career, because there's limited things to do when you get to a certain level in your career. It's more of talking. Communication for me is one soft skill that I had to improve on.
For me, I would say it was networking. I'd say mine was networking because, like, my mindset was when I was coming, it was like, go focus on why you're coming and just do that and just be good at that. And I've always had that mindset of be the best, continue to be the best, just be the best, just do, so that mindset from my father that was already ingrained in me was my focus. But then I needed to open up and get to know people, and I didn't realize that that was a necessary skill when I first started out. Like, if you don't know people, she helped me get my first connect. But I have to tell you, she helped me. She's connecting me with the first job I got at RBC was because I had worked on a project for her, and she was really impressed. So she introduced me to you, and then you introduced me to somebody else, and then my boss then became wild and then just introduced me to everybody he could possibly tell about Dami. So that's how I then got to speak in front of, like, so it's about knowing people and understanding that the secrets within your success is actually lying in the next person.
Okay, so me now. The only guy among you guys.
You're numbered.
I think, okay, for me, what I have to change, I think, I used to be an introvert, just like they said. But all of you, even my wife disagrees with me right now. That I'm not an introvert, but I'm still a very quiet person, But it's so shocking that I'm now a public speaker. I speak a lot and do so many things I do. So one thing I gotta do is going back to school. When I go here, I've been working. So going back to school really changed a lot of things. It changed my perspective. It changed my way of looking at things. I remember after I finished my business school, I was able to know how to create my business, my plans, and all the things I'm doing right now. It really helped me a lot, right? And it can do attitude. I don't take no for a yes, right? I'm always going for it, and that's why what is pushing me, and that's why I'm where I am today.
Excellent. I think it's great to see how you guys have had to change, and I think the lesson there is we all come with strengths, and we all come with things we have to improve with. So I want to go to you. Do we have any questions for any of the panelists? Okay.
You must ask questions.
Yeah, you have to ask questions. So please introduce give us your name and where you're working right now, if you can, so they'll know how to connect with you.
Okay, my name is Larry. I'm currently working at Walmart as a senior business analyst. I got to Canada like 3.5 years ago. Okay. And I got into the business analyst world. I did the first one. Where I am right now, I'm doing contract at Walmart. There was a recruiter that got me in there. So recently, there was someone, a colleague of mine, that was looking for a job. The recruiter called me. I know your contract with Walmart is still on, but do you have anybody you can recommend? I recommended someone that is not even in Nigeria, an Indian colleague. That was just this current month. The guy got the job yesterday. The recruiter sent me a mail that thank you for introducing this person. He has gotten the job. The guy did not even call me yet to say I've gotten the job. I'm happy he got the job, but I'll be happier to help a Nigerian. I know some people here that I've met in some other forums, but it depends on, like you said, you have to keep connecting, and the connecting has to be where exactly are you going to. I'm happy to help people too. I still need help. I have a mentor already that I've connected with here today, and I can see other mentors I need to connect with here. I met Ibrahim last year. Just someone sent something, a note that okay, there's going to be a forum one night. I was tired, but I connected. People asked questions. It was on the phone. The next day I called Ibrahim. Okay, I just got this contract at Walmart. What I did at Home Depot is different from what they are doing here. Yes, when we go to class, we talk about Agile. Yes, I know it's theoretically. But getting in there, the job they said I was coming to there is a business analyst. I got in there, my manager introduced me as a senior business analyst. And I was pushed in there as a business analyst and a product owner. I said, sincerely, I was almost running away. But when Ibrahim came into the picture, I called him and said, this is what he said, don't worry, all will be well. At times, I find it difficult to sleep at night. That's the truth. So anybody that is feeling I can't do it here, you can do it. Yes, you can do it. I connected with him, I had a training, it was giving me confidence. Now I lead developers that knows more than me. But when I show up and tell them, okay, this is what we are doing, this is what we are prioritizing. Okay, no, stop, don't do this. This is what the business wants right now. And I'm talking, I'm like, I look at myself in the mirror.
So Larry, is there a question?
I'm just saying this one.
What is 1 minute for testimony?
Joey said something about connecting with some people on LinkedIn, which are Nigerians. Nigerians at times don't want to help Nigerians. I connected with a senior director in one company that, okay, I have this experience, I could do this. He didn't say anything. When I saw the job opportunity, I said it again. In something like, do you think, is there something we need to do different? Or is it that maybe some people, as in Nigerians, maybe they've helped some people and they burn their fingers? I'm just looking for how can we correct this and you can help.
So, sorry, Tony, I'm going to do something, just a poll, very unscientific poll. If you think Nigerians don't help Nigerians, raise up your hands.
Can I do this and this?
If you think Nigerians help Nigerians, raise up your hands. Okay, so it's 50-50.
It's not 50-50.
I just wanted to get the sentiment in the room.
I hear your sentiment. The only thing is that if I'm in your shoes, I don't want to say I sent my resume to a Nigerian. It could be anybody. You could send your resume to a Caucasian, to an Indian, and they will still not respond to you. It is, in my opinion, and I'm basing this on experience, like I've reached out to some people on LinkedIn that never responded. I didn't take it up on them. I've messaged some people on LinkedIn that responded right away. The last guy that actually responded right away was an SVP at Great Lake Insurance, and I saw a strategy role, and I messaged him and I saw a strategy role. Are you actively recruited? He put me straight to his HR. I messaged another person the same day. The person never responded to me. My thing is never stop. Keep going. One person responds, fine. The next person doesn't. Dust your slippers. Move to the next one. Keep going. That is the key. Keep doing what you're doing. As long as you know you're doing the right thing, it cultivates things and just keep going. Keep at it. It will yield interest. It's not about being a Nigerian. In my opinion, it is not about being a Nigerian. A lot of people that reach out to me are Nigerians. Trust me, some of them I do not respond back to. because I'm like, I'm not really sure what your question is.
Exactly.
You ramble and ramble and ramble, and I don't know what you're asking me. So what am I going to respond to? That's my opinion.
I need to add to that. The answer for me is branding. Because the truth is, like, if you present yourself in a way that people want to help you, they feel like there's so much value that they can get from you, why shouldn't they respond? There are people that don't respond to me. I mean, I've branded myself, I've done everything, but that's just in their character, and I don't fault myself for that. That's just, they don't want to respond. But if you've done everything in your own power to present yourself as worthy of that position or of what you're requesting, then it's not on you, it's on them. They just don't want to. And also, there's one thing that we need to be very careful of, is not saying that we feel because of our color or because of our culture. We need to look within and validate, do I feel as an individual, or am I feeling because of my culture? Am I feeling because of my color? So do that first before, Nigeria, blah, 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 because, and also, Nigerians, I'm not part of the people that say Nigerians don't help Nigerians, but then again, I don't blame the Nigerians, I don't help Nigerians, just because two things: bad experience in the past, and you're not presenting yourself today as somebody that I should help. So those would be the only reasons.
So I have a different perspective around it. So I've been a mentor in so many organizations, Try, CAM, Edmonton Regional Immigrant Council, the Black Employee Network at RBC, TD. So I think when somebody reaches out to you, they need help. Like, as a mentor, for me, I always respond there, right? So first thing he says, send me your resume. So when I look at your resume, I'll tell you why you're not getting the job, right? So sometimes, it's a two-way communication. You reach out to somebody, the person responds to you, appreciate it. If the person does not respond to you, try somebody else, right? But again, as a community, I think that's something we need to change. Yeah. So I don't believe that, I don't respond to somebody. I mean, try for God's sake, respond. If you know you cannot help, just respond, right? And again, if you cannot help, say, I can't help, sorry, or I can refer you to somebody else. So this is a culture we need to change. I think it's a change of mindset, right, that we need to change our community. So how we can change that and help each other. If you look at the Indian community, where they were today, because they are together, they're banded together, right? So the black community, the black employee, we have to change that. So we have to change that habit, right? So all of us have to work together and change that mindset where it's a two-way communication. When somebody reaches out to you, help that person. Thank you.
Thank you. So David, was that a comment you wanted or a question?
No, I wanted to make a comment, but I'm fine.
Okay. So,
okay, so if you want me to add, that's fine. Okay, just wanted to also add to it. First is, why CNP is here today is we are trying to bridge the gap and the gap we found in the community. Most of my friends are Indian, and they have a very strong Indian community. When I came to Canada, the first thing I noticed was these guys are very strong. So as part of building connection, I intentionally made sure my closest friends in Canada are Indians. And I know what I benefit from, the strong relationship I have with them. CNP is here to be able to bridge that gap. We truly want to be able to build a healthy community, a thriving Nigerian professional community. However, I need to also drop this. To be fair to some people that don't respond, I get requests on LinkedIn from everybody. As much as possible, I try to, but I cannot respond to all. Most time my plate is just full. And you talked about branding, the way you present yourself. There are tons of connection requests I have not accepted. Why? I look at it, there's no connection. Why? So I need to figure out, how can we connect? How can we help each other? I can't find in the LinkedIn, so why should I accept your connection request? So to put that there, there's something else, I say this passionately. Unfortunately, not all Nigerians, but so many Nigerians are looking for shortcuts. I need to be very blunt with you. So many Nigerians are not ready to do the heavy lifting. You are not ready to put in the effort you need. Man has stopped falling from heaven when they were in the promised land. Now, you need to do what you need to do. So most of us came to Canada, you have to rebrand yourself. Rebranding is in different ways. Yes, you work, you are a manager, you have an MBA from Nigeria, it's fine, but now you are in Canada. Well, you need to layer something on whatever you came from Nigeria to be relevant. The challenge is most of us are not ready to do that work. I teach in different places. I feel very unfortunate, or I feel bad most times that I sit in a class here and you have, and there are a couple of people here who have gone through this class and they have their PMP, they have their CBAP, they have their PGMP, which makes me good. But I feel, I've been here since 9 o'clock today teaching. I feel bad that I have a class of 30 people. Only one is black, is a Nigerian. 29 are Indians. Those guys, Indians and Chinese, they are hungry for knowledge like yesterday. So when there's an opportunity, you want to refer, give it to somebody you know, have the knowledge. So that expertise is there. So that's one recommendation we want to put out to Nigeria. Let's look for knowledge, let's pursue knowledge, and that will take us to where we need to go.
So can I just quickly add to that? Yeah, a second. I think it's a journey, just like an agile. Agile takes a long journey. Right? So our community is going to be a journey, right? So sometimes we have to look at it that way, that it's going to take us a long time. So people come, we have a different culture, right? So now we're now coming to come together, right? So it's going to take us a long journey to get there, right? But I think we're beginning to start changing that. So getting there.
So now I have to be an agile.
Yes.
So I see you. Then number 2. Then I think there was someone at the back. Okay, in purple, number 3. Monica number 4. AGK number 5. So 30 seconds for your question. I'm agile.
So I don't think I need that.
You need a mic?
No,
okay.
maybe not. Okay, so, sorry, sir, your name, sir?
David.
Mr. David, first, I just want to decline the fact that you have someone sending you a request, okay, and you check and there's no connection. There are different responses you can provide to such person. Maybe information, maybe contact directly. So I think you should reevaluate your response.
There has to be a question.
Yeah. So anyway,
if
my
there's
question,
no question,
or rather,
I don't do it.
yeah, just reevaluate the content. So my question is, maybe not necessarily a question, but it's like a suggestion, and it boils down to my own. Sorry. Okay, it boils down to my own exposure. My name is Michael. First of all, let me introduce myself. So I'm one of the Nigerians here who I relocated about 6 months ago, and I still have my job running back from Nigeria. So I'm working remotely with Nokia, and also it took the advantage, just like you mentioned, enroll in the school. So currently I'm studying and working remotely with my organization. So quickly, we've talked so much about job search, connections, and stuff. I see something is missing here, which is also the mindset of being able to create business on your own. Okay, just give me another 20 seconds to just share something. So when I got in here, I got this call from these guys who needed someone to join them in the project. I mean, the first 2 months, and what they told me was to go and register a company or something. I mean, they wanted me to work with them. I said, okay, go put in, incorporate. Yeah. So do it as quickly as you can. And we had a project right now I'm not looking at working outside. So we had this project, we executed it. I mean, 2-month project. I mean, I was able to make some stuff. So in this kind of forum, it's also good for us to have places or time in between the agenda where we discuss more how to create.
Can I say something on that?
Okay, yeah, and then we'll answer as a CNP as well.
Sorry, I just have a comment about your recommendation to David. LinkedIn is a professional networking platform. If I have no connection with you, I'm not obliged to connect with you. So that's one thing. The second thing is talking about business. And I actually really like that because I'm looking for a side hustle, I'm looking for a main hustle, I want to retire at 55. I think that is one of the things that I would like to see as part of this organization. I know Dami she launched a business today. which I think I'm impressed about. So definitely I can say I'm just with him on trying to put in that, build your own business. I've tried to build 3 businesses in Canada, by the way. One didn't fail, we've succeeded very well, but I just thought it wasn't for me, so I left it. Second one I'm on right now, and I'm a consultant, so I consult for banks and government. So I'm building my own business as well. I'm doing it as a business, so call me to execute. So it's there, but I think it's something that we need to promote. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that suggestion, Michael, and it's something we're actively thinking about. I will introduce you. I don't know if I did just like I said, but it's one of our core tenets. One of our core tenets in CNP. So this session is one of the many events that you will see. We just focus this one on professional skills, but there will be events coming up on entrepreneurship, and I'm putting Johnson on the spot. So that's our director in charge of entrepreneurship, and definitely you were not part of us, but for those that were there at the CNP launch, we brought Isaac Olowolafe, and he's one of our beacons in the Nigerian community. He, at a young age, a very strong individual, he's built a multi-dimensional business. So and we want to see more of that in the community. It's entrepreneurship that's going to make us relevant here. But we're starting here. This is what we have. We start with what we have. We build on that, and then we build on each other's ideas. And that's what CNP is all about. Johnson, I don't know if you have any comment.
Yeah, we already are through that. Also, our goal is to increase the number of Nigerian businesses. Some people don't even know how to register a business. So the third thing we want to also do is those who are already in business, many of them doesn't even know how to grow the business beyond just the basement of their house. So what are the strategies for you to market? We can bring somebody who knows branding to come and tell us. How do you measure the basic KPI of your business? Sales, marketing, how many people are you talking to on phone about your business? These are basic things that will help the business to expand. And these are information that many people don't know, even to file tax in Canada. Many people don't know. How do you go about it? We can bring an expert in tax systems to come and talk to us about that. So, and if you want to go into tech, for example, tech is booming, there is a lot of opportunity. Do we have as many Nigerians that want to go in there? We can bring people who are actually into tech because there are funds that you can access to support the startup. How do you start? How do you grow it? So these are things that we have in mind to do. But the first thing we will do is to send a questionnaire across to get feedback. So if you receive that invitation, if you are in business, please, we encourage you to respond back to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnson. So connect with him.
Maybe it's not an official agile environment, but we do things and we get things done. But here, what I noticed is they're so laid back. I wouldn't want to use a bad word, like a desical, right? We have work to do, and someone is going off, going out for a walk, going out to take coffee, and I'm like, it's actually not a joke, because I'm actually now trying to move away and get another job, because I can't comprehend that we have something to do, and this is going to bring value to the business. We need to make this done. This is what we have promised the customer to deliver, and someone is just, and I'm like, what is going on? So you guys have experience, you have 20 added together. What's your advice? Because I can't just comprehend that kind of attitude in the workplace. Thank you.
How long have you been?
So sorry, I've been in Canada for. I've been going back and forth. So this is 2 years now.
There are 2 ways to it. One, the human resources guide, right? You have to observe your break. right? So in Canada, there's a lunch break, there's a coffee break, there's a cigarette break. So you have to observe those, right? That's one way. So in Agile, you know, we will talk about Agile, right? The team, there's something called the working agreement. And in the working agreement, actually in my team, we said 1 hour lunch, you cannot speak any meeting in that lunchtime. You cannot. So we set down working agreement, right? Then you have another 15 minutes, you go for coffee break. And sometimes when I used to be in tellers, then I would take my team, I will go to the mall, I will go buy coffee, I will sit right there and drink the coffee, then go back. So what's your stress? So you have to observe the play, man.
So but what you have to understand is, we joke about these things, but you will see that that's how work gets done. A lot of it, we're knowledge workers. So those coffees is where the knowledge gets spread. So you will use the coffee break wisely, but you will get your job done. So like he's saying, there are SLAs and there are things, there are objectives to be met. Some of those people that will not meet the objectives, they will talk up the objectives and they will get their check mark. So you don't know how to talk it up, you do it. But you will have to learn, like Tony said, you have to learn. That's something you have to learn here. You have to learn to communicate. You have to learn to be perceived positively. It's a different culture. But if you look at it, it works. Companies are thriving. Companies, they're posting profits. And if they want to cut the workforce, they will cut them within 2 weeks before you know it. So there's a way it gets done. And they know the people that give value at the end of the day. If you're just stuck, there's going to come a weighing day and the person will be found wanting. So my bottom line, go for the coffee, learn to communicate, but do your job and communicate it.
Just one more last thing though. When you go on your coffee break, smile and be happy to be on that coffee break, because they will know if you're not genuine about being there. And to be honest, building that relationship is your job security, because somebody during that coffee break or whatever can refer you for the job that they could fire you from. So it's very important to build that relationship.
I'm just going to add one thing. My first connection that I built that was a solid connection was built from walking. Downtown Toronto, Wellington, between Wellington and Queen, I walk with my boss every day. She's a fitness freak, and I'm trying to get into shape. So I walk with her every day for 1 hour. That is when I know who they are going to let go. That is when I know when the next job is going to be posted. At that time, she's let down her guard. She's relaxed. Now she's talking to you on a personal level, and she doesn't really see what do I call it? A boundary. She's just now we're talking. That is when you build those connections, and I think they're important. In Nigeria, we're not. It's something that we have to learn.
About it. So in terms of mentor, so I remember, I think over a year ago, I wanted a mentor. So I spoke to my manager. I said, okay, I need a mentor. Can you get me one? So my manager didn't do it. So 4 months after, I went to the senior vice president, because I had a personal relationship with the vice president. And what we have in the committee. So we became a friend, right? So I talked to her. I said, I'm looking for a mentor. He said, oh, okay, I'll get you one. And that same night, actually I was on vacation, and before you know what is happening, I got a mentor. So that way you can go through official route, or you can go through a personal route. There's no one way out of it. So that's my answer.
There are people that are wiser and they're just far from me, but then I Google and go on LinkedIn to see what are the stories about these people, what do they know, what are their skills, what are their experiences, do they match up with what my experiences are, do their values align with mine. So I research that, because if you're also going to meet a mentor, you need to come armed, right? They need to know that you know them. It makes them feel good, because when you're going to approach anybody, you have to flatter them first, but you can't flatter them if you don't know them, right? So you have to first of all do all of your research. And yes, AVP versus VP, you have to play both, honey. You don't pick whether AVP is going to be your, because you have to get to the next level, right? I know that's part of why you're not sure which one to pick, even though you prefer another one. But you have to just be smart about it and keep both close, there's no harm in having 2, 3, or 4 mentors. So just play your cards right. Your second question was communication. There are lots of tools out there for communication, right? And if you are willing to learn, there's no reason why you can't improve your communication. But then you also need to be very willing to challenge yourself that, oh, I need to communicate more. I'm going to force myself to speak. I'm going to force myself to write. I'm going to get someone to proofread what I've written. I'm going to get myself out there somehow. You speak good English. There's no reason for you to be shy, right? So just go ahead and speak and not be afraid to continue communicating and expressing yourself when you need to express yourself.
I'll take your communication question first. It's just because it's one of the things I had to improve on as well. I read a book, I think it's called Speaking for Executives. That book really blessed me. Like, I took that book and I was putting notes on it because it tells you how to actually verbalize some things. That's number one. Number two, when I first started, before I send out any email, my husband is very good at writing. He's a better speaker than I am. I take a screenshot of my email and I tell him to proofread it. I'm like, am I making sense? If you read this email, what would you think? And that is the way I solicit feedback. Those kind of feedback, you don't want to solicit it within your organization. They will quickly type you down. So step out. Find that one person that knows that area, that subject better than you. Let that person be your sounding board. That's communication. Podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I listen to podcasts on anything. Like my commute back and from work is just educating myself. I usually don't really listen to radio. So I think you should look at podcasts as well. So when you're talking about networking with a VP and SVP, personally, with my choice of mentors, I've had to approach my mentors, or sometimes the relationship grew naturally. Then I'm like, you know what, now you're my mentor. So I kind of name tag them. So with the AVP and VP, which one do you think will position you in the direction you want to go? Your SVP doesn't work. It's just because I know TD culture a little bit. Your SVP doesn't work directly with you. Will your SVP be able to put his hands on the table in the boardroom and say, oh, she worked on that project, these are her achievements? No. So you have to be calculative and be intentional about that network. Your AVP, you report to that AVP. She knows what you've done. She knows your achievement. You're more visible that way. She's the kind of person that if you prove yourself, she'll be able to put your name up and say, you know what, somebody is due for a promotion. She worked on that project. She did very well. These are the things she did. Bam, you have that recommendation. So you have to gauge who is going to benefit you and who are you going to benefit directly. I don't know how often you see your SVP. Oh, your VP. VP, right? Yeah. Your AVP, you technically will have an interaction with.
One more book for communication that's really good is Made to Stick. You should read that book. It's like, just read it 1, 2, 3, or 4 times. It will help prompt you.
What do you mean by technical?
So we can't hear you.
Sorry.
Can she just answer?
Not being detailed.
But technical skills are related to your profession. So are you saying technical skills for a BA?
Yes.
Oh, for a BA.
Maybe you need to be
Let's
specific.
connect after this.
Yeah. Sorry, we had people in line, and we're running out
I
of
was
time.
just a question related to what she just said.
Okay, 10 seconds.
10 seconds about communication. My name is Joan. I am such that I'm so too detailed, and at work I will go on and on because I have the picture here and I want to put it out. And I have noticed I get caught off like, okay, so what? So because it seems I'm repetitive. And when I notice that, I kind of shut down. When I'm supposed to speak, I don't speak. Because when I open, it's like a tap. I want to, like on and on. So how do I narrow everything down? That's my question. related to communication.
Okay. I think the general answer would be read books. That was what I was going to say. Communication is broad, and we're seeing in the different examples, it depends on the different aspects. It could be presentation, it could be writing, it could even be just giving our presentations as such. Your first step is to read books, and from there you get some tips. And I believe there are coaches as well. This is not selling, but Dami is one person you want to talk to. She used to be in communication. So at least you can have a conversation with her. She can refer you to other people that can help coach you. Because it's a different communication style here. That's one thing you have to learn. And then when you get mentors, David is running a project right now in CNP. We have a mentorship where we have grouped people. It's a safe environment. You can ask your mentor, and those kind of things you can discuss in your one-on-one. If that's not their area of expertise, they can link you up with other people that can add, and you can have more time to speak in detail. A panel discussion will not be able to get into the nitty-gritty of what you need. But at least we're uncovering that there are different areas that we may need to struggle, we may need to step out. It may be uncomfortable, but it's possible, and you're not alone in it. So I'm going to go to number 4. I'm mindful of time. Is that you, Kat?
I am. Okay, my question is regarding networking. So now you have all these networks. How do you reach out to people and ask for referrals or recommendations without feeling like I don't know, sometimes you work with people and you want them to put something out there for you. How do you go about it? Then the second question is around mentorship. So I have a mentor at work, like my boss got me a mentor, and sometimes I'm feeling you don't want to look like a dummy or like make a fool of yourself. Like what are the kind of, I had a list of questions, but I'm just wondering if anyone has some things to share, like how do you go about like having those meetings without making it too repetitive and making sure you're getting value out of it.
30 seconds. You know what we're going to do, because we're getting a lot of this and I'm making an executive call. We will do another session on mentorship and sponsorship. I think it's needed. I started talking about it this morning and you could see almost everybody talked about it. So, but she's going to give you the short ingredients.
So I said I was going to talk about sponsor versus mentorship mentorship. A mentor is somebody that will guide you into doing something. It's a give or take relationship. A mentor is somebody that will, you know what, I'm looking to improve on my analytic skills. The mentor knows the domain, has worked there before, and will be able to guide me through things. A sponsor is that person that will speak for you when the doors are closed. When you have a sponsor, and so with sponsorship, how do you get a sponsor? It's not something that you necessarily solicit. It is based on visibility, it's based on your credibility, it's based on what you've done. So if I've done a project on payment processing and I did it very well, and it was an enterprise-wide project, I performed, I took my coffee breaks, but I still came back and performed. When I'm not picking on you, we need to take coffee breaks. And when the next big project is coming and they're looking for somebody to lead that project, guess who they're going to call? It's that person. But who is going to recommend you? It is your sponsor. It is that sponsor that will say, you know what, I'm going to go to any length, you're going to have to put on on that project. But how do you get there? You have to be visible in the organization. You have to put yourself out there. When they are looking for anything at my job, I'm a contractor, they're not paying me extra. I'm the one. Like I volunteer myself, even when they're doing social events, that contractor, we don't have businesses. I said, let me help you find restaurants because I've eaten a lot. And you know what, guess what? They're looking for a restaurant. Okay, Tony, apropos, she has come. But I put myself out there. That doesn't mean I put myself out there for everything. I don't, I'm selective. Yeah, and I'm strategic about what do I think is important to them in this organization. Did I answer your...
My question was more on, like you have a mentor.
Okay, yeah, she asked me to answer that question. So now you're talking about mentorship within your organization. Personally, I think it depends on the relationship you have with your boss. Your boss may not be your best mentor. Because you have to gauge things. You have to look at the chemistry.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know what, you just don't have that chemistry.
No, you actually got me a mentor.
Okay, so maybe you're a full-timer.
Yeah.
Then I've not been able
So
to.
let me answer that question. So
You can.
So I have yes, we can call the next later, okay? So I have my mentor, right? So at work. So when we started the relationship, so we tried to get to know each other first. You know, I mean, even though we're not from the same area of business, so I tried to listen to him to know what he does. He's been in the bank for about 15 years, so he told me all those history. So he tried to understand where I'm coming from. He did this, he did that. So it became more like a husband and wife relationship. No, seriously. So when you can talk about anything, so you open to each other, and sometimes going to some store at work, I share, oh, I know this, I know that, I know who can help. So it becomes a very cordial relationship that you can talk about anything. So there's no one way out of it.
Sorry, please. I have just what you said.
We will connect with Ali. Sorry, I have to make it. We're already at time. I want to take the number 5. I think that was Ejike.
Yeah,
So,
Ejike Abatekwa is my name. I work in project environment, organizing people. 2 comments, 1 question. The first comment is, LinkedIn, I agree with you, it's a very professional environment, and you don't have to connect with everybody. However, I disagree with those who do not respond to emails. So connections could come by phone calls, text messages, whatever. Anyone that requires you to type a response and you do not, I have no name for that. Secondly, this is my second time here. The first time, again, we talked about Nigerians not helping people. However, that might be right, that might be wrong. You said 50-50. But the question I've gone back to ask myself, which luckily came from my wife, if people don't help you, who have you helped?
Question.
It's not who have you helped? Help is not work, help is not money. Who have you helped? Choose your helping method. But if people are not helping you, who have you helped? Finally, it's feedbacks. We want feedback from people. The likelihood of you seeking a feedback from me and me giving you a wrong response is not there. How do I get genuine feedback from people? That's just one question.
You want to take that? So you guys are looking at me. So when you say feedback, so one is about perception, right? So, but again, feedback is sometimes you either take it or you don't take it, right? So whether genuine or not genuine, feedback is good. But again, how about self-awareness? Or how about retrospective? How about that growth mindset? Well, okay, somebody give me feedback. Think about that feedback, right? So it could negative, it could be positive. So feedback is something that somebody has, is an opinion that somebody has about you. I give you that feedback, right? But try somebody else. So somebody give you a feedback, try somebody else and see if you're going to get the same thing. So if you get the same thing from somebody else, then you have to start thinking, okay, try somebody else again, right? So if somebody is giving you the same thing and the same thing, then you have to think about yourself and do a self-retrospect and see, maybe it's about me. What do I need to change, right? So that's about feedback.
In regards to feedback, the way to get the best quality feedback is to be specific about what you want feedback on. If you ask, how did I do? I will just say good. That's not specific enough. But if I say, what did you think about my talking point when I spoke about this, right? Then they tell you, they give you the feedback. If you don't ask a specific question, I can't do your breakdown for you, and I cannot critically think for you. So if you're asking me specific questions, you're more likely to get it because you put that person on the spot and you're going to make them think about a good answer to give you. It's much harder for them to lie at that point.
Somebody told me one time to do a survey on myself, that it will give people the opportunity and it will be unanonymous. I've never tried it, but I plan to try it this year, and it's just for myself, and so maybe personal survey. And I'm going to build on what Dami said. I think you should ask feedback from people that you trust, will give you that genuine feedback. When I have to do anything with business, Dami is my sounding board, and she will tell me, Auntie, the idea is I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Those are the kind of feedback I want. Or she would say, you know what, this and that, have you thought about this, have you thought about that? You want somebody that will be candid. You don't want I don't want feedback from my husband necessarily, because would he give me that one feedback that I'm looking for? Do I want feedback from, I'll take feedback from somebody that I know knows me very well, knows my goal, but would be candid about it.
But somebody your husband will give better feedback though.
Yeah. When I say my husband,
like their families, like their children. Some people drag their spouses here, so we appreciate you very well. I'll call on Tanya and Johnson to please round up.
All right, so first of all, thank you everyone for coming out this Saturday evening. I'm sure we've all made meaningful connections today. So as you go out, please try to pay this forward by directing your friends and family to our social media network. We'll be posting it on the group chat. If you're not on the group chat, please do see me right after the program. A huge thank you to our panelists today. I have learned a lot. To be honest, I didn't know what to expect. I was like, okay, yeah, the same thing. We'll talk about blah, blah, blah. But I have learned a lot today. And I'm so grateful that you came out, and God bless you. So this is a little token from CNP. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So we want to thank all our audience as well. Thank you for honoring the invitation, and thank you for being engaging in the discussions. It's good when we come together. We are better off and stronger together. That's one of our goals as CNP. So don't just go and hide yourself in the bush and think you can make it work. No, all of us together, we are stronger than one person working alone. So let's come together. Let's develop the community. There are things that you might see as a limitations that has put our people down. Bring it forward. We are open to suggestions. We are open to feedback. And if you are an entrepreneur, I want you to start warming your shoes. We have programs coming in. If you aspire to own businesses here, we want to encourage people to patronize Nigerian businesses and also to start Nigerian businesses. And I think I'll stop on that note.
Thank you.